Well, as you can see, BATV are here at the Melbourne Bowling Club. It is Australia's oldest bowling club, and today it played host to bowls' newest competition. The APL, the Australian Premier League, was launched here today in front of a huge media contingent, and it involved naming the official APL ambassador, Mick Molloy, comedian from the movie Crackerjack. You'll remember from 11 years ago, Mick Malloy is the official APL ambassador. 6 teams, 5 from Australia and 1 from New Zealand, will be partaking in the APL, the Australian Premier League, up in Brisbane at Club Pine Rivers from November 19 to 22, live on Foxtel on Fox Sports from 5 p.m. to 9:30. There's a whole heap of information coming your way about the Australian Premier League, but first, let's take a look at how some of the media launch panned out today. Well, as you can see, there was a host of activity this afternoon with 6 players, 1 from each of the teams that are partaking in the Australian Premier League. We've got a team from Adelaide, a team from Melbourne, a team from Sydney, Perth, New Zealand, and of course Brisbane. And speaking of Brisbane, the man joining me to my left, Brett Wilkie, one of the Australian Jackaroos. He is a Queenslander, a proud Maroon. Wearing a Perth Suns shirt this afternoon. Brett, tell us a little bit about how this panned out.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be recruited by the Perth Suns, so looking forward to representing WA.
What about the jump across the country to, I suppose, the rival state? How do you feel wearing or playing against your old teammates up there in Queensland?
Oh, I think it'll be plenty of fun and a lot of banter as well, and but also playing hard for the team. So I'm really excited about playing and looking forward to it.
It's a unique scenario whereby you are playing for a team that's a state that you're not even remotely linked to at all, but it's a good little part of the competition that players can jump states and play against your old mates, one of them including Mark Casey.
Yeah, I'll be up against Mark Casey. He's back at Helensvale now where I am, so played a lot together, but we've also had plenty of hard-fought games over the years, so always plenty of rivalry between good mates.
Now, you've been closely linked with the APL planning pretty much from the get-go about 5 years ago. Tell us a little bit about what this competition will mean to the sport of bowls here in Australia.
Oh, it's very exciting for the game. It's going to change the game. It's going to be great for the development of young people coming in and playing, families, and it's going to be great viewing on TV. So I think the whole aspect is going to be a very good promotion for our game and for the future of the sport.
Tell us a little bit about your team, Perth Suns.
Yeah, we've got local superstar Clive Adams. It's raring to go. He's very excited to get out and have a game, and also ex-Irish international Jeremy Henry. He's based in Australia now, but he's very good on the indoor surface, so the 3 of us get on really well and looking forward to playing together.
And in terms of the elite players in bowls in this country, names Kirko, Glasson, Murphy, Sheriff, Casey, Wilkie, they're all going to be there live on Fox Sports.
Oh, it's going to be a great atmosphere, and there's going to be plenty of banter between the players. Everyone's going to get excited and looking forward to some really good games.
We hope that you don't go into the wrong locker room up in Brisbane.
No, I'll have to make sure I keep out of that one.
Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
There he is, Brett Wilkie, and as we said, Mick Molloy was the official ambassador appointed here today at the APL launch. He took over the official media conference. First, we're going to hear from him having a chat to Kelvin Kirko and Steve Glasson.
Come here, Glasson. Here we go. Good to see one of the all-time greats. What are we going to see from your boys from Sydney? What's going to happen?
Fortunately, we've got two really great players in Karen Murphy and Aaron Sheriff, so I'm expecting a lot out of them, Mick. And hopefully our coach will sub me in pretty quick, or sub me out rather pretty quickly.
Sub you out pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Straight to the bar for you?
Well, something like that, yeah.
All right, now what can we expect? Obviously there's going to be mind games. Do you think they'll be sledging out there? Do you think it'll get pretty hectic?
A little bit. I think, say, Kelvin Kirk and myself, we go back some couple of decades or so when we first met at Pine Rivers, when it was just a little shed. Yeah. And I don't mind telling you, I did get over him all those many years ago, and look forward to hopefully doing it again this year at Pine Rivers.
This is bowling's equivalent of state of origin, and I'm expecting the same passion out there on the green. Are you going to leave anything in the locker room, Kelvin?
Listen, the Queensland, the Brisbane Gold team are ready to get the 4Xs out already.
Oh, here we go. They're celebrating. Is this a home ground advantage for you that you care to exploit? Do you think this works in your favour?
Absolutely. We've got Mark Casey, great player, and of course our wild card, Robbie Wild, who's the local guy there who's been practicing day and night.
He sounds like a loose cannon, this bloke. What's his story?
Robbie Wild is up and coming. Look out for him.
How old's he?
25.
25. That's almost old these days, isn't it?
It is,
it's gone full circle. Well, look forward to seeing you guys duke it out, and thank you for coming down here all the way today.
Well, there he is, Mick Molloy, having some fun with Kelvin Kirko and Steve Gladson, two of the biggest names in bowls here in Australia. He also took to the microphone and had a chat with the world #1 women's player from New Zealand. Our friends from across the ditch are playing in this competition as well, and he had a chat to Joe Edwards.
This is Joe Edwards. You'll be representing New Zealand, and I'm looking forward to that. What is New Zealand bringing to the table?
Hopefully a lot of good bowls, a lot of friendship and a lot of laughter.
Will we be seeing a haka? Will we be seeing the first haka in lawn bowls history right here in this 2020 competition?
Oh, look, I can't let anything out just yet.
Right. And you must be happy that everyone's bowling underarm for a change. New Zealanders are very, very happy with that.
I had to bring it up.
I had to bring it up, and I will say this, guys, you'll be okay. Just remember, even if they get 8-1 up, they can still lose this lot. Joe, congratulations, welcome aboard. We look forward to seeing you up there, and all the great spirit. I've been fortunate enough to travel New Zealand and seen a lot of their bowling clubs, and they're so similar to ours. I know our countries, we have an intense and great rivalry, but we're so similar in many ways, and it was an eye-opening experience to travel your clubs, and we share a very similar history in this regard. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, with all the fun out of the way, let's now turn to the serious stuff. And making the official launch here this afternoon at the Melbourne Bowling Club was the Chief Executive Officer of Bowls Australia, Mr Neil Dalrymple, who stepped us through what the APL is all about.
Thanks, Andrew. Good afternoon and welcome to the significant day in the history of the sport of bowls in Australia. With today's announcement and the official launch of the Australian Premier League, a new competition set to redefine the sport of bowls for generations to come. I'd like to welcome you here today to the oldest bowling club in Australia, the Melbourne Bowling Club, to announce Australia's newest bowls competition, the Australian Premier League, to be staged under the roof at Club Pine Rivers in Brisbane from November 19 to 22. A special welcome to today's launch to Bowls Australia President, Mr Des Skinner, to the President of our host club, Pine Rivers, Mr Ron Howden, Managing Director of BCOB, one of our team sponsors, Mr Ian Hopper, Australian Premier League Ambassador, and we're very excited to have the star of Crackerjack, Mick Molloy, who we'll hear from very shortly. Welcome, Mick. And to the team representatives, sponsors and players from each of the 6 inaugural teams in 2013. Some background. Bowls Australia has been diligent in developing this innovative format and new competition of the game for the past 5 years. It was identified that while respecting and maintaining the traditional formats of the game, bowls indeed needed a new product to engage with younger audiences and to grow participation across all demographics. With Australians experiencing increased professional and family commitments, we sought to find an alternative product that can be played in a short time frame, day or night, with members of the family of all ages. No longer can we expect people to play bowls all day on weekdays or Saturdays. With the established league, which consists of 5 city-based teams from Australia and, importantly, New Zealand, making up the 6th team, we hope that state rivalry takes hold and engenders sport tribalism amongst our fans and participation base, and continues to grow as the competition does over many years to come. The competition teams are owned by individual franchises who I thank and applaud for their investment into the competition and the leap of faith shown by them and sponsors to further enhance how the sport of bowls is presented. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the Australian Sports Commission, to Combat Teamwear and Club Pine Rivers, who without their significant financial contribution and support, this concept would not have become a reality. Now, importantly, to the 6 teams playing in the 2013 Australian Premier League, I'd like to announce them as follows. The Adelaide Endurance, owned by Bowl South Australia, sponsored by the Messenger Press and represented today by 2-time SA State Bowler of the Year, Scott Tholburn. Brisbane Gold, owned by Club Pine Rivers, host venue, sponsored by 4X Gold and represented today by 2006 Commonwealth Games gold medalist Kelvin Kirko. The Melbourne Roys, owned by Fitzroy Victoria Bowling and Sports Club, sponsored by Blundstone and represented today by 20-year-old Australian Open Triples champion Dylan Fisher. To the New Zealand Blackjacks, owned by Moles New Zealand, sponsored by Tower Insurance and represented today by world #1 player Joe Edwards. The Perth Suns, owned by Bowls Western Australia, sponsored by Solargain and represented today by world champion Brett Wilkie. And last but not least, the Sydney Lions, owned by the Mount Lewis Bowls Club, sponsored by BCIB Insurance Brokers and represented today by 9-time Australian indoor champion and national coach Steve Glasson.
Go the Lions.
The APL is the forefront to a much broader participation growth strategy whereby the exciting APL format will be rolled out in selected clubs throughout Australia commencing next year. The program will be called Jack Attack, with a kids-only version accompanying that program called Junior Jack Attack. Just some quick stats about the Australian Premier League. In a significant coup for the sport, the inaugural APL competition will be broadcast live on Fox Sports in Australia, Bowls Australia's official broadcast partner, and on Sky TV NZ in New Zealand. And we're thrilled, as Bowls in Australia has been void of live television coverage for many years. Fox Sports will broadcast the APL live in prime time from 5 till 9:30 each night of the competition, and featuring commentary on the final 2 nights from our ambassador, Mr. Mick Molloy. I thank Fox Sports for their commitment to cover the APL live, and also importantly, the APL will carry a total purse of $100,000, second only to the Australian Open. The inclusion of New Zealand into the competition is also a coup, given the long-held rivalry, but a great friendship between the two countries on the greens. Finally, just a couple of elements in terms of the games. We'll have a shot clock, pardon the pun, shot clock. We're ensuring a time limit of 30 seconds between shots, which currently there is not. 2 sets of 5 ends only, with a deciding tiebreak if required. Substitutions to allow for coaches to change up tactics and bring in a player to deliver their signature shot. And power plays, creating an opportunity to double the shots per end. The Australian Premier League format and rules will allow for the sport to be watched and played in a different light from what we've seen before, enabling a dynamic and innovative TV product. So it gives me immense pleasure to be able to officially launch the Australian Premier League here today. And now I'd like to introduce the competition's official ambassador, Mr. Mick Molloy, to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil. It's a great honour to be here, and to Des Skinner, head of Lawn Bowls Australia. Welcome. This is it's a great moment for me for a couple of reasons. It's overwhelming to be actually back at the Melbourne Bowling Club. I think I underestimated this a bit. And about 10 years ago, we lived here for about 8 weeks, where we made a film called Crackerjack, and it's incredibly gratifying to be back here, where we have so many fond memories, where I worked so wonderfully with people like Bill Hunter. The late great Bill Hunter, who we were just talking inside. I reckon they never sold as much VB at this bowling club as they did when we were doing Crackerjack, and I think Bill is largely to thank or blame for that, depending on what you're looking at. So we loved working on Crackerjack. It was such an eye-opener to us. It was a window into this great game of lawn bowls, which it's just a fantastic game. It's more than a game, it's a social experience. So one of the great thrills of my life was with my brother driving around country Victoria and basically curb calling bowling clubs and dropping in and meeting some of the most magnificent people I've ever met in my life. And in the end, all we did was sit around and listen to some beautiful stories, and some of them going back 80 to 100 years, and particular to those parts of the country. And we learned so much from such generous people. And when we got home to write the film, we didn't have to make anything up. Everything we had was just a matter of collating this awesome experience so many Australians have gone through in these outdoor cathedrals, these brilliant outdoor cathedrals in urban expanses. And I think this is a great example of that. The Melbourne, as you said, the oldest club in Melbourne, sitting right here in the heart of Melbourne. But when you walk in, it's like a little paradise where you can all relax and enjoy everything this great game has to offer. So I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted to launch this exciting new venture in terms of lawn bowls. I am. This is our 2020, if you like. It's 2 sets, 5 ends, 3 players, super sub. They're probably going to bowl overarm. I don't know what's going to happen. They'll be sledging, no doubt. I see Stephen Danks is hanging around, so they're taking it very, very seriously at this stage.